Welcome to Training Unleashed, the show that will help you design and deliver training that's off the chain and will make a difference. Now, here's your host, Cordell Riley.
Thank you for coming back for Training Unleashed. You know, we've done quite a few of these, and I got to tell you, I'm beside myself on this one. We have, I don't know if I can call this an honor. I mean, this is my dream come true here. On this episode of Training Unleashed, we have Santa. Santa, wow, can you believe it? Santa's here. Santa's here. Oh, wow, there's a bell that makes it really real. Santa, how are you doing?
Oh, hello, Cordell. I am doing marvelous. Thank you for asking.
Santa, Training Unleashed, man, we're being very, very good. What brings you to Training Unleashed?
Oh, Cordell, before we start on that, I got to ask you a question. Have you seen this new movie, The Lord of the Five Golden Rings? A little Christmas humor for you. What brings me here? Well, I was doing some scouting for my routes this year for the Christmas delivery of toys, and I couldn't help but catch your Training Unleashed podcast. And I said to myself, I have some things I could use some training with. And I thought, who better to ask? So I had some else just investigating and got some contact info. And here I am on your show! I am so jolly. Excuse me, I might be glowing a little bit from the reindeer dust I had last night. Oh, Cordell. So thank you for having me. I'm delighted.
I'm honored that you would take time out of your busy schedule.
Well, Cordell, I am busier than ever. I've hired more elves than ever in the history of time. And these are good challenges to have. And my elves are, get back to work. Get back to work, elves. One of our first initiatives is a program called Elf on the Mantle. This is where our elves are out into the world and they sit on the mantle and see who's naughty or nice. But Cordell, we're having issues. We're having issues, Cordell. We have elves falling asleep on the mantle. We have elves spiking the eggnog. One of our elves up in Minnesota was found in the Barbie house after hours. And they're not filling out their reports properly, Cordell. I'm at a loss. I need help on this program. It's a good start, but things are awry, Cordell.
Wow. Well, Santa, you came to the right spot. I mean, I got some colleagues that are some true training professionals here that I think can help you with some of those things. So on that note, I'm going to be quiet and let the true experts pick up here and jump in and help you out. That one with the spike in the eggnog, my goodness, what would you do with that little guy?
Naughty.
Well, thanks for that, Cordell. And Santa, pleasure to meet you. Can you tell me, a little bit more? What have you done from a training program or educating with this year? Do you have an operations manual? Do you have anything of that nature to kind of give these elves out in the field some guidance?
Well, Dan, the operations manual is a few thousand years old and times have changed. And it's a mess at this point, honestly, Court. I'm sorry, Dan. You're Dan. Oh, I know you, Dan. It's a mess, Dan. I don't know what to do.
First component is typically try to understand what it is that your elves need to know and what type of behavior you'd like to expect in the field. Certainly, I have two of my colleagues here, Crystal and Lee. I'm sure you know them both, but Crystal does all the learning development and Lee does the technologies. But Crystal, I'm kind of seeing understanding what type of behaviors we need out in the field, and then maybe Lee can ask you some questions about how you get information to and from these elves. Crystal, what are your thoughts?
Oh my God, it's Santa. I'm just awed right now. It's so good to see you. I'm glad to hear that you came to us. And, how are your workshops being run, and how is that going? And what types of training are you delivering now?
We have one trainer who handles all the workshops, and we're trying to find more, but it's always difficult to find good help. So he's overworked and probably not doing as good a job as he could. We did have one manual, we have an overall operations manual from years, like I said, 1,000 years ago. But the newer one we made for the specific elf fundamental is just a couple sheets of paper.
Training Unleashed is brought to you by Tortal Training, specializing in e-learning and interactive online training solutions for corporate, government, nonprofit, and franchise organizations. Tortal makes effective training easier. Just go to tortal.net to gain access to real-world tools that can make a difference. That's tortal.net, Tortal, tortal.net.
Santa, can you tell Lee anything about how you get information to and from these elves out in the field? Do they carry any devices with them? I don't know if your elves use iPhones or iPads.
Some elves use iPads, some tablets. Some are still logging into DOS to check their emails. So, which I don't know how it's possible, but they tell me it is. We're having challenges all over the place with communication, honestly. Some elves, like I said, prefer Twitter. I mean, what's Twitter? Is that a toy?
Wow, Santa, that's really interesting. First of all, huge fan. Thanks for the information. Maybe you could help us understand how you manage what must be a lot of data around all the lists that you keep up with.
We have 5 elves working very hard down at the bottom floor of the workshop, and they just bust out the routes and the names. It's very insufficient, if you don't mind me saying so, Mr. Lee Wedgeworth.
Sounds like a lot of paper.
It is. It's more paper than you could possibly imagine.
Outside of this Elf on the Mantle initiative you have going on, what sort of other challenges are you having? Is this it? Just getting the right information out to these folks?
Every year we have more children being born into the world, and then that requires more toys, doesn't it? So we have problems with production. We used to make, kids played stickball back when I was little, or they had a very simple doll. Now today, kids want hoverboards that don't even hover. Don't mind me saying so. And they have puppies that are mechanical and require downloads and have apps.
Increased demand, maybe, and then increased complexity of the activities that all your elves are performing?
Well, yeah, actually, Dan, we have a new workshop that we're opening up, but I don't have time to watch this new project because I'm doing my daily job as being Santa. I can't be 2 people.
Yeah, so you got a growing business, right? This is a good problem to have.
It's a very good problem to have. But
Okay.
What do you suggest I do to manage this growing business? Hire more people?
Well, are there folks there that are doing it well? Are you getting everything out of the people who you currently have on staff?
Honestly, some employees are much better than others. It could be a lack in training. How do you suggest I get the message out to all of the people?
Well, again, it goes back to understanding, especially from the folks who are really good. If you've already got folks who know the job and they're doing really well, the 3 of us can partner to make sure, the 4 of us, me and Lee and Crystal and yourself can partner to, document what all that information is. And I'm sure Crystal will want to talk to you a little bit about how we might get that information out there, and Lee to support it. But for the strategy component of things, we want to understand, who your best performers are and get them in a room and extract all that information out of their heads, and then be able to craft it into really effective learning interactions that we can put out to these different workshops. Crystal, thoughts there?
I should research first to know what the problems are?
Yes, that is correct, and we can help you with that. Dan and myself partner very well. We like to come out and see one of your toy workshops kind of take a look around, see how you operate things, and learn from your people. We would want to know more about the breakdown of, do you have a lot of elves who've been working for you for a long time? And then, the challenge for a lot of employers is a lot of millennials.
I know what you're saying there.
Making sure that we create a solution that appeals to all audiences and gets everybody excited to learn. And that could be some traditional instructor-led materials that you're probably used to, but maybe with a lot more activity. And then some engaging e-learning and video-based training. We have all sorts of tools in our toy box also.
Well, very interesting. I have not spent much time researching the problem. I'm just trying to deal with it. But how can you solve a problem if you don't know what the problem is in the first place? All right. Well, training experts, I got another one for you. I have elves that are 1,000 years old and elves that are 2,000, 3,000 years old. Some elves like to learn on their tablets, and some elves prefer the more traditional approach, the instructor-led training. How am I supposed to get all these elves to work together when they all work so differently? I have elves wanting to work from their igloos all the time.
Sid, I think I'm gonna have a drink with you on that. Mine's just water though.
Oh, cheers.
Yeah, so that's believe it or not an uncommon problem. There's a lot of businesses that are experiencing that in today's day and age. And Crystal will tell you one of the myths is that, well, I don't know about elves, but I know from a human perspective that millennials may not learn any different than your older elves. They're just used to different ways of getting information. So when we talk about designing information, we're talking about making sure that the design of how the information is delivered to the target learner, or in this case, the elf that you want to learn, is designed in a way that makes the most sense and produces the appropriate result. So for all three of these, we would want to, and I know Cordell, being a savvy businessman, but also a big fan of yourself, we're most likely going to do this just so that we can stay on the good list going forward. But for my part, it would be, coming to the North Pole. If you don't mind me being there for a little while, it's always been a dream of mine.
I'm going to say, Dan, we'd have to blindfold you if we brought you to the North Pole. We don't want people to know where we do all the work, you know what I mean?
We deal with a lot of proprietary content, being a custom content developer, so happy to sign NDAs, and I'm sure Crystal, I'm getting a nod from Crystal downstairs. She's downstairs on my screen. Yes, absolutely. That's something that we'd be happy to do, and you can put your experts in the room for all three of these initiatives, and we can scope out and framework curriculum for each one of them and understand, what's the most important thing for someone new entering into the role, and then what are the things that have the most positive effects throughout the entire role, so that rather than trying to move an elf along the performance wave, we can try to move your entire wave so that you can, implement these learning interactions, all throughout the North Pole in a lot of different environments. Crystal, I guess you're hearing some other things there from the development side of things when she picks up the baton from our team and starts actually putting everything together.
Yes, I have a team of elves myself, and we actually build all the learning experiences that we agree need to be the right ones for your teams across your workshops. And then when we're done, we sort of turn the baton over to Lee and his team. And I'll let him talk about that.
Sure. And from there, we just kind of determine where elves are doing things like managing paper when they should be doing things like logging in and learning, or better activities in your organization. And so we just try to start at the beginning and understand where those things are opportunities for improvements, and then we begin applying technology as we can to help assist in that process.
We're so glad you're listening to this episode of Training Unleashed, brought to you by Tortal Training. The difference between Tortal Training and other online training companies is we're primarily a training company with technology, rather than a technology company that does training. Want to find out more? Just go to tortal.net. That's Tortal, tortal.net.
Santa, was this helpful for you?
Oh, extremely helpful, Cordell. I'm going to watch the broadcast later on YouTube and all the other outlets, and have my elves watch it too. And Cordell, I got your Panther sweatshirt in the work.
You have my what, Santa?
Your Panthers. Don't you like the Panthers, Cordell?
Oh, I love the Panthers, Santa. Wow.
I got it signed by all of the team members, too. You can't see it because they wrote in black pen on a black sweatshirt. But what are you going to do?
Wow. Santa, thank you so much for that. Santa, let me also thank Dan, Lee, and Crystal for that tremendous information you shared with Santa. Santa, that little elf that kept popping in was the most charming.
You want to see? This is my top elf.
This is your top elf.
He specializes in toys for ages 6 to 9.
Wow. That's a beautiful.
This year's special stocking stuffer. They call it the pink elf.
Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Santa, can I ask you one more parting question here before we go off?
Absolutely.
So, Santa, I know as you get ready to make your journey, you're going to have a lot of milk and cookies. That's one of our traditions we've always done. My wife and daughter make the best peanut butter cookies, so that's what we're going to leave out. So I know you've gotten them every time you come to our house. What are your other top 2 favorite types of cookies as you're getting ready to make your journeys here?
Oh, I got to be honest with you. The original chocolate chip stole my heart back in year 11. That stole my heart. And butterscotch pecan, honestly. Thank you so much, everybody. It's very, very helpful.
Thank you, Santa. Keep up the great work.
Ho, ho, ho.
Bye, everybody.
Merry Christmas, everybody.